I did an input lag test for the Xbox Series controller versus the PS5 DualSense controller a while back. In that test, I used a high-speed Sony camera and recorded the button presses against the screen playing Dead or Alive 6. That test is good to find out the final result from when the button is pressed to when the information reacts on screen. But doing a test like that has a lot of variables, right? Of course, we have the controller, you've got your operating system, and then the game has to process it, and the game has to display it on the monitor, and the monitor itself has its own delay. But what if you want the delay information just for the controller themselves? Well, fortunately for us, we have a utility here called XInputTest that does just that. Not only does this utility tell us the input delay, but also the polling rate on the controller as well. Without further ado, let's get to the testing. We're gonna do the Xbox controller first. Alright, so looking at the results here, we have minimum input delay is about 2.35 milliseconds. Maximum, so when it's slowest, is about 12 milliseconds. On average, we're getting about a 7.83, and the polling rate is 127. So let's transfer these results onto our spreadsheet. Now, testing the DualSense is a little tricky. As you can see here, it's giving me an error that the controller is not found. To get around it, I'm using DS for Windows to really trick this guy into thinking that the DualSense is an Xbox controller. Alright, let's get to the test. Okay, at the fastest, it's under 1 millisecond, and then at the slowest, it's about 8. On average, we're getting about 3.85 milliseconds, and the polling rate is 259. When comparing the two, you can clearly see that the DualSense is faster than the Xbox Series controller. At the fastest, the DualSense is about 1.5 milliseconds faster, and at the slowest, the DualSense is about 4 milliseconds faster. And on average, at about 1,000 samples, we have about a 4 millisecond of difference. And in terms of polling rate, the DualSense is about twice as fast as the Xbox controller. And for those of you who don't know what polling rate is, it pretty much means how many times your device reports its position to the computer. So for example, at the rate of 125 Hz, that means that the controller is reporting its position 125 times per second. This web page also has a nice little chart here. Let's see if it's accurate. So for the Xbox, we got a polling rate of 127, which is kind of close to 124, right? And I have an input delay of about 7.8, so that's very close to 8 milliseconds. And for the DualSense, we got about a 260, so the closest is 250, and it's telling us that we should have a response time of 4 milliseconds. And check this out, it's about 4 milliseconds of input delay. So this chart here is spot on. As you can see here, the higher the hertz, the lower the delay is gonna be for our controller. In other words, the more often our controller reports its position, the less input delay we're gonna have. I don't know about you, but I find the science behind this whole thing to be fascinating. I learned a lot about how controllers work, and hopefully you learn a few things as well. If you did, give the video a like, subscribe for more, and take care now.